these tools are probabilistic.
Yes.
So it's no longer a requirement to specific test. There isn't a guaranteed function nor a exactly repeatable function every time. Let's say you push the submit button on
Mhm.
some prompt. So you now have to kind of focus on automation from the start when trying to create a diversity of different test cases to run. What place is it now? Is there a change when you think of for the tester or the QA engineer? Has that shifted, in your opinion?
Yeah, as I mentioned, when I was at IBM and Microsoft, I had the opportunity to do a lot of testing, and it was always interesting because um, I was unexpectedly brought in to be a tester, as I mentioned, because I saw things that other people didn't. And it was always fascinating to watch, for example, test cases being written by engineers or product teams because they were very literal, right? Click this, click
Hmm.
that, this should happen, right? It's very, it's sequential. What ended up happening when I would join those is there was all the what I call margin, what's in the margins, the things that happen outside or in between or around those transactions. And I remember having discussions with the test script writers to say, there's a big jump between step 2 and step 3. Um, system wise, there isn't, but what happens to the end user and what they're seeing or what they're doing to get to the outcome you want, you have to include this. What I'm realizing now is that some of these tools can help us fill in a little bit of that gap, but more importantly, you can actually take tools. I think Microsoft rolled out one last year where, for example, it can just watch your screen. So you can give me an actual software, have me just do what I think I should be doing with it. It records your screen, it follows the mouse clicks, it follows all the behavior, and essentially writes a test script based on the experience that I as an end user did, right? So if that can happen, then we have reality and we have what was kind of expected, and somewhere in the middle lies the truth. That should shave off a lot of time between engineers and end users and understanding what that is. Um, that used to take several rounds, right? User acceptance testing back and forth. The other piece I see is, let's say, for example, between user acceptance testing and go live, there are a whole bunch of changes that are made, right? So me as a user acceptance testing person, I was using one instance, maybe it was a testing instance, and all the interface looked different. And when we go live, there's slightly new buttons, slightly new UI. Before, it used to take training teams, those are the people that are on my team, days, if not weeks, to go back and update all of the training materials to
Hmm.
reflect the new UI so that it's most optimal. Well, now we can actually take, again, screenshots or video of the new UI, say, here's what the test scripts were, here's what the training was, tell us what the delta is. And if you use things like Claude, you can say, take it even further and say, go ahead and make updates to these documents, right? The agentic part comes in. This is where people start to realize I just got 4 to 6 weeks back of time from a training team. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions, depending on how big that ERP is.
Hmm.
And so when you do apply some of these into large enterprises, you are seeing massive savings in time. But then the question always comes back to how much of it do you trust and where do you spend that time? Where do you deploy that time back to your organization collectively?